We did everything in skirts. We didn't have fatigues. We didn't have pants. So getting down and dirty, you got down and you didn't get dirty. You were always the lady.
In the middle of a shooting war, can't even gather what I'm fighting for. Hate to imagine what they got in store.
The Women's Army Corps, 12 years after forming, now has an up-to-date home of its own. A score of jobs at home and abroad are today open to qualified WACs, for undeniable proof has been furnished by experience that women can perform many non-combat jobs as well as, and in some cases, better than men.
You know, there was a time when they just felt women couldn't do the things that men were doing. And I think that time has come and gone.
The women in the military, a lot of times, were not appreciated. They weren't really noticed. It was so few of us.
Like their male counterparts, women enlisted in the military for a variety of reasons.
I was coming up on graduation in 1965. My mom was going, you need to find a job, you need to think about it, you need to get a job, you need to...
After seeing a recruitment sign at a bus stop, Patricia Porter enlisted in the Women's Army Corps.
I was Florence Nightingale. I was going to be ripping my petticoat and making bandages. I didn't know about Vietnam. You couldn't have had me even begin to draw an outline of Vietnam. All I knew was there was a war. All of the guys in our school were being drafted, and all of these guys needed help.
After basic training, Porter became an operating room specialist stationed at Fort Hood, Texas, where she cared for the wounded who had been medevaced from Vietnam.
One of the things I've always said, I have no idea what Vietnam looked like, but I sure knew what it smelled like. You would get somebody on a gurney, usually in uniform, and they would have bandages on them. And I said, it's kind of like Christmas where you don't really want to open the package because you never knew what you were going to find.
While Porter was treating the wounded in Texas, Lou Eisenbrandt was searching for a way to pay for school and see the world beyond her small Illinois hometown.
I remember going with a friend to the recruitment office. So I just walked in and said, I'd like to do this. They had a program where if you joined the Army at the beginning of your senior year in training, then they would pay for you to go that last year of school. And after I graduated, I owed them 2 years of active service.
In 1969, Eisenbrandt got her orders for Vietnam.
You know, I don't remember being scared. I mean, again, I was 22. You know, you're young, you figure you're kind of invincible. I do remember getting on the flight. There were 13 women on that flight, and all the rest were men.
After arriving in Vietnam in November of 1969, Eisenbrandt was assigned to the 91st Evacuation Hospital in Chu Lai, where she spent the majority of her time working in the emergency room.
I remember one day when we got, the Viet Cong hit a Vietnamese village and we had 99 patients in one day. And you don't speak their native language, it's a challenge. And I do remember really casualties almost every day. I don't think there were any days that went by that we didn't get somebody in for with some particular situation.
Like Eisenbrandt, Rose Bell enlisted as a way to pay for her education and travel. Bell first applied for the Air Force, but got impatient waiting for their response, so she enlisted in the Army.
I was terrified. We were coming off the bus, and our drill sergeant came up to us and started screaming at us. And she told us to hurry up and get in there and set up our beds and all this stuff, you know. And I ended up breaking my glasses 2 weeks in to basic training, and I couldn't see anything. And so I was so scared of not saluting the right people that I saluted everything, you know.
In 1969, she was stationed in Camp Zama, Japan.
I worked in the Adjutant General's office, and then I got transferred to the communications. division as a communication specialist, and my shift was at night, and so they would drive us to headquarters, and we would be locked up in this vault. And I had top secret clearance, and we would send out troop movements, and we would send out movements for a hospital and stuff like that.
Belle served in Japan until 1972, when she became pregnant with her first child. Very little record of women's service during the Vietnam era exists today.
We were supposed to be wives and moms when we left the military, and nobody would ever know about us again. There's so many of us veterans, female veterans, that were enlisted in the United States that have never come out.
It just wasn't cool to talk about Vietnam, and the only reason I started speaking was I had a friend who was a 5th grade teacher, and she asked if I would talk to her class about Vietnam, and I thought, well, I guess I could do that. And that was kind of the start of talking. Then different people found out, and so I've been speaking to students for about 30 years.
I really didn't feel the negativity I think that a lot of the soldiers felt, who fought over there, But I've always been proud of my service. I felt that the Vietnam War was the wrong war to fight, but I was there to help keep those guys alive and, and comfortable, try to make sure that they had what they needed to do their job. And so I've always felt proud that I was able to do that.